Now time for your What Up Doe movie review. All right, I watched a movie called A Band Called Death. It's a band out of Detroit, Michigan, who basically, no pun intended, had been buried for years. They actually came out during the time of the Motown explosion, and no one took them seriously because a rock and roll band from Detroit at that time was unheard of. If you were a black artist coming from Detroit in the 60s, you were supposed to be Motown. Period. Point blank. So no one paid attention to their work. But as their work has surfaced, it has been discovered that they have created what we now know as punk rock. This band of three black guys, they were all brothers. They started with four, and then one of them passed away, and then it became a trio. The band called Death, the name of the group was Death, D-E-A-T-H, and the movie is called A Band Called Death. The work was, it's a documentary about how it all started. It pulls out a lot of their old music, how it all came to be. They have a catchphrase. They like to say, "This is where death was born." It was pretty good. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting story about a group that was unheard of, whose music was very well done, very well recorded. The vocals were horrible, but it fits what punk rockers do. Very good written lyrics, very interesting subject matter. It's a very interesting film. I didn't give it. They expected me to give it a 4. I streamed it on Netflix, and they said I was gonna love this flick. They gave it a 4.5, projected 4.5. I gave it more of a 3, and not even a 3.5. I mean, literally a 3. I didn't find it that interesting, but it was kind of cool to see a lot of the old Detroit scenery in the film. But that's probably why Detroit was on my mind this morning. So. Anyway, the movie is called A Band Called Death. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Check it out if you like music documentaries. It's an interesting one, and that is my What Up Doe movie review. And now, yesterday I skipped it, but today I want to get to it. My What Up Doe commentary. My closing commentary today has to do with a video that I saw. Actually, a story that I read yesterday shortly after the What Up Doe show, and I wished I had talked about it, and I almost cut the thing back on and talked about it yesterday. And I'm just going to say it point blank. Let's not forget Mike Brown. Let's not forget Ferguson. Okay? More than a month after the brutal murder of 17-year-old Mike Brown, Officer Derek Wilson has still not yet been arrested, folks, and the crime is still under investigation. Have you naysayers figured out yet why there's outrage? Has Mr. We gotta change! Have you figured out yet that when black people do nothing, the system allows injustice against you to slide, allow it to fly under the radar and go away? We don't have the money. We don't have the power like white folks and Jews. Their outrage is felt through those channels. Jews hurt them in the pockets, and white folks just have the power to hurt you. They don't have to be heard. They're going to be felt. Ours is felt when we pitch a bitch. That's when you feel our outrage. Outrage, riots, is the voice of the powerless and the underprivileged. We need to be heard. And we need to be heard today. Loud and clear. Because they are trying to let Ferguson go away. I remember when I was in Fort Worth, Texas, there was an incident where we had a complaint from a customer. It was my last straw. It was the reason I left Fort Worth, Texas, and moved back to Houston. It was the last straw. There was a lot before it, but the last straw was when I went to tell my manager about this complaint. And his response was, just play it off till she goes away. And that's what's happening. Play it off till they go away is the plan. We can't let that work, folks. We can't let it go. To compare cop on black violence to black on black violence is irrelevant on so many levels that it's pitiful. I'm tired of hearing, all the black on black violence, where's out. First of all, you're comparing cops to criminals. And if that's a fair comparison, then arrest the goddamn officer. Okay? If it's fair to compare the cops to criminals, arrest Officer Wilson as you would arrest the criminal. If there's a black on black violence and the black guy just stays there and waits for the cops, he'll get arrested. So if that's a fair comparison, arrest his ass. Secondly, it's not about the violence. You're missing the point. It's about the injustice in the face of violence against our children that creates the outrage, because they have still not arrested this kid's killer, and they know who he is and where to find him. He waited for the cops. You can kill a black kid and just wait for the cops when you're not a black person. If you're a white guy, if you're a Hispanic guy, you can kill a black kid and wait for the cops. Come on. I'm justified. Look at him. He's black. He's a threat to society. If he wasn't guilty today, he was going to do something in the future. He was going to. It's kind of like the story of the cop that pulled over the officer. He beat up the driver. They got down the street. The cop pulled him over again, and he beat up the passenger. And they said, "Why did you do that?" He said, "Because I know when you got down the road, you was going to say, I wish that motherfucker would have hit me." So even if he didn't do something today, he's guilty for what he would have done if I'd have let him live. He's not denying he did it. It's just cool. It's okay that he did it. If Mike Brown had shot Derek Wilson, do you think this case would still be under investigation? Do you think Mike Brown would still be home with his family and friends while we await the outcome of this investigation? Do you see the difference? See why they don't have to scream to be heard? They have the power to punish and the power to make it go away. So they don't have to scream. White people don't have to scream. They don't have to riot. You're going to go to jail today. Not tomorrow, not a month from now, today. You are on your way to jail today. Believe it. Hashtag Mike Brown. Hashtag Ferguson. Hashtag hands up. Hashtag don't shoot. Hashtag don't forget. Hashtag what up, though. That's my show. Yeah. Yo, I want to say big up to my boy Latone Hart. He has a show called The 7:30 Show. At 7:30, like the time, 7:30. 7:30 show. You can hear it on Spreaker.com, Stitcher.com, also on iTunes. I want to thank you guys for listening this morning. Big up to my man Murray Riley Jr. He has a show called Stomp and Shout Talk Show on Spreaker.com. Very good commentary. I heard his new episode last night. Very important show there. Very important commentary. It is important for everybody to hear his show because he really, really gets... He has some good political commentary. He talks very intelligently about politics and matters that are concerning to us, especially as democratic citizens. Big up to Miss Giggles, a.k.a. Lisa Marie, or should I say Lisa Marie, a.k.a. Miss Giggles. She has a show called Juice Talk Radio on Spreaker.com. Very good commentary. On that note, man, I want to say peace out, Pretty Crease out, keep the police out while I bust his niece out. Y'all have a great day, and I'm out of here like last year. Peace.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
What up, though?